The drama surrounding this long-awaited heavyweight championship fight was never just about two men trading punches inside a ring. It was about time itself colliding in front of 90,000 people. About a sport forever searching for its next era while still haunted by the shadows of the last. When Anthony Joshua and Wladimir Klitschko finally stood across from one another, the atmosphere carried a weight far heavier than the belts on the line. One man represented the future of the division, sculpted, unbeaten, crowned early and loudly as the next global star. The other carried the quiet gravity of history, a former champion who had ruled for nearly a decade, fallen, vanished, and returned at 41 years old to ask one final, dangerous question. Could greatness be reclaimed once more? From the opening moments, the crowd sensed that this would not be a reckless brawl, but a chess match fought with fists capable of ending everything in a single second. Joshua, defending his title, moved with the contained energy of a man who understood both his power and the risk of overusing it. Klitschko, taller and more economical, tested the distance with subtle footwork and a cautious jab, fully aware that one mistake against a younger, explosive champion could erase a lifetime of achievements. The first round unfolded with restraint, both fighters probing, both waiting for the other to reveal intention. When Klitschko finally landed a clean right hand, it didn't stagger Joshua, but it sent a quiet message through the arena. The former king had not come back simply to survive. As the early rounds progressed, Joshua began to assert himself, pressing forward behind a stiff jab and dipping into the body whenever Klitschko lingered too long along the ropes. There was a sense that the champion wanted to prove something, not only to the challenger, but to himself. Questions had followed Joshua into this fight. Questions about patience, about stamina, about what would happen if brute force alone was not enough. In response, he boxed with surprising discipline, picking his shots, working behind his jab, and resisting the urge to chase the knockout that so many expected to come quickly. Klitschko, meanwhile, fought like a man rediscovering belief in real time. Each round that passed without disaster seemed to loosen his shoulders, sharpen his timing, and reawaken instincts that had once made him nearly untouchable. His right hand began to find its mark more frequently, not always cleanly, but enough to remind Joshua that this was no ceremonial farewell. The challenger absorbed the blows and continued forward, but the dynamic was slowly shifting from inevitability to uncertainty. By the middle rounds, the tension inside the stadium had transformed into something electric. Joshua's success was clear on the scorecards, but Klitschko's presence felt increasingly dangerous. Then, in a moment that seemed to erupt from nowhere, Joshua landed the kind of punch that changes the temperature of a fight instantly. A sharp combination broke through Klitschko's guard, and suddenly, the former champion was hurt. The crowd roared as Joshua followed with a vicious left hook, sending Klitschko crashing to the canvas. For a brief moment, it appeared the story had reached its expected ending, the young champion overwhelming the aging legend in spectacular fashion. But this was not a simple story, and Klitschko was not finished. He rose, bloodied but defiant, throwing back with desperation and pride. Joshua, perhaps sensing the finish too strongly, rushed forward, and in doing so, opened the door to the most dramatic reversal of the night. Klitschko's right hand found its target with frightening precision, and suddenly it was Joshua who was hurt. The champion staggered, his legs betraying him as the challenger unleashed a flurry that shook the very foundation of the fight. When Joshua fell to the canvas, disbelief rippled through the crowd. The future had been knocked down by the past. What followed was one of the most punishing and revealing rounds in modern heavyweight history. Both men fought through exhaustion, pain, and fear, trading momentum with every exchange. Klitschko, sensing destiny within reach, pressed forward with calculated aggression, while Joshua clung to survival with grit that surprised even his harshest critics. Each punch carried the weight of consequence, each second stretched unbearably long. When the bell finally rang, it was impossible to know who had truly won that round. But everyone understood that both men had paid a price that could not be undone. As the fight moved into its later stages, fatigue became a silent third participant in the ring. Joshua, visibly drained, struggled to regain the sharpness of his early rounds, while Klitschko, remarkably, appeared to grow more confident with each passing minute. His jab snapped with renewed authority, his right hand remained a constant threat, and his movement hinted at a veteran who had learned how to endure storms long ago. The narrative had flipped completely. What once seemed like a coronation now felt like a trial by fire, and the outcome was anything but certain. Yet boxing, in all its cruelty and beauty, has a way of rewarding resolve as much as experience. Joshua, battered and tested beyond anything he had faced before, began to dig deep into reserves he may not have known existed. He returned to his jab, steadied his breathing, and forced himself back into the fundamentals. The crowd, sensing the turning tide once more, rallied behind him, their noise lifting the champion as much as any corner advice could. When the decisive moment arrived, it came not as a single miracle punch, but as a culmination of everything Joshua had endured. A powerful right hand broke through Klitschko's defenses, followed by a relentless assault that drove the challenger back toward the ropes. Klitschko went down again, then struggled to his feet, only to be overwhelmed by a final barrage of clean, unforgiving shots. The referee stepped in, ending the fight and sealing one of the most dramatic heavyweight battles in decades. That is, Anthony Joshua stood victorious. The moment felt larger than a title defense. It felt like a passing of eras carried out the hardest way possible. Klitschko, though defeated, walked away with his legacy, not diminished but reinforced, having pushed the new champion to the brink and beyond. Joshua, bruised and exhausted, emerged not just as a powerful athlete, but as a fighter, proven by adversity, baptized by the kind of war that defines careers rather than ends them. This fight endures because it was never just about who won. It was about courage revealed under pressure, about experience refusing to fade quietly, and about youth learning in the most brutal classroom imaginable what it truly means to be champion. It was a reminder that heavyweight boxing, when history and ambition collide, still has the power to stop time and demand our full attention. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of boxing's most unforgettable nights, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did this fight change how you saw Anthony Joshua, or did it confirm Wladimir Klitschko's greatness in defeat? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with fellow boxing fans who appreciate stories where legacy, risk, and heart collide inside the ropes.